Okay, we'll get everybody muted, get started. Okay, Mary, did you unmute yourself?
Can't.
I did, okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, everybody, Marilyn said welcome, and it really touches our heart that all of you from all over the world are taking this moment of choice to join us to learn about self-love. It is truly the most powerful force of healing and creation on earth. And it is love for self as all. And that's what we spent time talking about last week. And we will build on that today by talking about the experience of joy. Because the experience of joy is the expressed experience of ourselves in our physical lifetime as we choose to fill our heart, fill our soul with that love for self, that celebration of self. And we are the only ones, each and every one of us hold the key to that experience of joy. Because the key is the choice to love and celebrate all that you are in every moment. And I was struck just the other day with what led to us choosing joy. I saw a newspaper, the front of the newspaper had a picture here in Colorado of two children playing in a water fountain. And it was a picture of utter joy. The simple, pure experience of the moment, the presence of these children, to just their being, feeling that water, playing in the sun, in their bathing suits, free to be outside. And it reminded me, in contrast to the stories built all around it in the newspaper about pain, fear, and loss. And it reminded me so powerfully of many, many things. I mean, children are an absolute source for us of reminders of what joy is. Because as adults, we teach them to give up joy and choose maybe happiness, and maybe not even happiness, maybe it's a moment of being happy, and we ratchet back this core experience of the heart, and we convince ourselves that if I get a moment of being happy, that's great. When we choose to love ourselves, to take the time to do that every day, to pay attention to how we're communicating with others and how we're engaging in an experience of acceptance of self, love for self. When we do that, actually what we do is we feed the fire that is the soul with air. That experience of love for self feeds that fire. And that fire, as it grows, it has two experiences. The first experience of love for self as all is peace. We don't have the chaos every day of feeling so many ups and downs and fear and many things. But in our expressed life, when we walk through the world, it is joy. And so it is so important to understand that each of you, by taking the time each day and really being with yourself, just with our children were in that moment with the sun and the water and the fun and the laughter, just being with yourself, that same childish way. You wake up in the morning and your hair's stuck in 50 directions. Instead of going, oh my God, I look so horrible, how am I going to get out? Why not just laugh at it? Why not just enjoy it and say, wow, you've gone off in a new direction. I guess I'm going in a new direction today. why not let yourself be free again? And why not realize that every time you communicate to your children that they shouldn't be free, that they should be quiet, that they should restrain themselves, that they should stop laughing so much, you know, that message is going to your heart as you are telling them when they're trying to tell you, hey, mom and dad, hey, grandpa, hey, whatever you are in relation to that child, teacher, friend, you know, they're trying to tell you, let's be in joy with ourselves. You know, and it's so interesting to me because the choice we make when we do not take the time to love ourselves and we do not feed that fire with that air is we ultimately beget pain. And we are so oriented toward believing almost that pain is a natural experience of being human or some kind of a natural experience of life. And it is no more natural than joy, but we pay so much attention to it. That's why that newspaper had one picture. It was so wonderful. It was on the front page. It was sending a message to all of our hearts about there is joy in us. There is joy in the world. Take time for that. And what I try to remember for myself sometimes is I think about when children go to a bus stop. Let's say they're going off to school. It could be a bus stop, however they're going to get to school. But a group of children are together. You do not hear them stand around and say, oh, I got up today and my shoulder was aching and God, I look terrible. I just had to get myself all pulled together. You know, my mom, you know, she was just in a bad mood. And, you know, children don't do that. But we do. But we do. Because we give up that place, that experience that our heart so wants, which is as much as we have created and called forth pain in our world, we have created and called forth tremendous joy, tremendous light, tremendous peace. It's all there. Take time to spend in balance with yourself. I'm not saying to be joyful is to ignore the fact that sometimes you feel sad. That's true. That's a truth. You can acknowledge that to yourself. But take time and look at how much of your 24-hour day, how much of your 7-day week do you spend paying attention to things that are joyful for you. Even just acknowledging them to yourself, like, that was just so much fun. That was just such a moment of great joy for me. And just acknowledging that to your heart. And as I close here, I want to share one thing before I hand it off to Marilyn. There was a deeply difficult part of my life in my late teens and early 20s. And I went into a very severe, what is called on earth, depression. And out of that, I couldn't figure out how to get out because I was at a very bad place in terms of my life. And what occurred to me was I could find one moment of joy a day because I was in darkness. I could find one moment of joy and I could accept the rest. I could accept the rest of the day no matter how it unfolded for me, without judging it, without looking at, how horrible it was or what it was going to do. And I would find one moment of joy and I would accept the rest of my day. And I did that, and it took a total of 4 years. 4 years of committing to that, to come out of the darkness and fully into the light. It didn't take 4 years to feel light, but it took 4 years to when I remember distinctly knowing, oh my God, my whole life is full of light. And that's what happens when you choose to pay attention to and acknowledge to your heart, we got our one moment of joy. And it could be a smile from someone on the metro that I was taking. It could be anything. It is that commitment to love yourself that guides your heart. And it can guide your heart to an experience of light and joy and love that is very much like that of children Because you all know, if you've watched children, before we tell them to stop being joyful, they can't help it. And that's the experience that comes of choosing to love yourself. The exercises we have taught you, the 10 things you love about yourself every day. This exercise, one moment of joy, accept everything else. And begin to make choices in your life that are about things that are joyful for you. And your fire will reignite and reignite and reignite as long as you make the choice to choose joy, to choose love for you. Mare?
When Chris and I decide on a subject, we never really discuss it. I never know what she's going to say, and she doesn't know what I'm going to say. But that was extraordinary. Thank you. I've been thinking a lot about joy, obviously in preparation for this morning here. And joy is a very simple word, 3-letter word. We talk about it. We know what peace feels like. I believe every person here knows the feeling of peace. I think every person here knows the feeling of love. Every one of us knows so many of those feelings that we're seeking. Even if they come and go, we know what they feel like. But to remember a moment of joy is so different. And it's so fleeting because it is different, as Chris said, from being happy. Being joy comes into such a deep place within us that I remember when Chris and I first started working together, it's been how many years now, 20 years, we were always talking about always choose joy. Every choice we make, if you are going to get a job, follow your joy. If you want to spend time with a friend, does that friend bring you moments of joy? Follow your joy. What do you want to eat? Does that bring you joy? Every act, we never think about joy in the everyday of our world. We forget. We will find peace. We will find rest. We will find a lot of different things. But to find joy, it is a moment that goes beyond breathing. I remember moments of joy in my life because I am so aware that they are not constant. I would love for joy to be a constant in my life, but we're human, and there are so many things happening in the world that take away that joy. But those moments of joy that I can go back to, whether they're from childhood or adulthood, it literally takes my breath away. I remember the feeling in my body of that moment of joy. It is so different from being happy. I think of myself as a happy person, but joy has a depth and an experience that is so much larger. It is so important as humans to allow our hearts to experience joy, because once we have that moment, we know what we're striving for in all other moments. It is an extraordinary experience. And as I talk to you, I'm remembering that moment of joy for myself, and I feel my breath catching in my chest because it was so almost out of body. It was so extraordinarily powerful. It goes beyond acceptance. It goes beyond everything. And we will open this up for questions, but when we do the meditation today, my goal is to bring you each to a moment of joy that you've had in your life so that you can remember. Because in the remembering of it, we relive it, and in the reliving of it, we bring it forth, and then we know what we're moving towards. But joy is the most life-changing experience we can have. It's a tiny little word with the biggest meaning and the greatest heart.
I want to build on that, Mara, because this is a tool that all of you can use, what Marilyn was referring to. When we work with people, one of the things when I get to the tool about joy is asking people to remember a moment of pure joy in their life. And over the years, people have shared things like when they were on a dance floor and their body was just in total flow and the purity of the joy they felt in their heart. But what I teach people to do with that is every moment of your life, you're making choices. Use that memory of that moment of joy and what it felt like, just like Marilyn was talking about, and what it felt like to ask yourself as you're making a choice, will this give me joy? And ask yourself, does it have even a flicker of the joy that you felt from that experience somewhere in your life? And if it does, follow it. Take that action, do that activity, do whatever. If it doesn't, pass. Ask yourself, what will give me joy in this moment? And find what that joyful thing is. And one of the issues that comes up with this is people say, well, a whole group of friends invited me out. They want to go see a certain type of movie. I don't like those kind of movies. It's not joyful for me, but I go, you know. I encourage you, as you make choices and follow your joy, to be willing to say to others, which is to yourself, I can understand you want to see that movie. That's joyful for you. It's not joyful for me, so I want you to go. I want you to enjoy it. I'm going to choose to do this. I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to do something that's joyful for me. Because when you make choices of joy, as God, as all that you are, know that your choice of joy reverberates through everyone. Everyone. It goes everywhere. So as you choose joy, you are adding that air to everyone on earth. And when you choose pain to do something that's not joyful for you and maybe even painful, you are doing equally the same.
I want to say one more thing before we open up. This is a great subject for us. During the coronavirus, okay, which we are all experiencing together, we are isolating from the rest of the world. So here we are in our homes with the people who we're closest to. How do we find joy? Where do we find joy? I have to be honest with you. I struggle just like each of you have struggled. But you know what? I found moments of joy. I bought myself a piece of a chocolate cake that I ate all by myself. That was so joyful. I can't even tell you that I couldn't wait for dinner to be over so I could take a slice of cake. I don't eat that way normally, but there was such a great need inside of me to find something to make me feel good, to make me feel joy. You know, I did not empty my closets and redo my house as I had promised myself I would do while I was home. It wasn't joyful for me. Rather, I would read a great book, or I would watch a great movie on TV. I made choices from my heart. We're not trained to do that. We're trained to have a function. We're trained to do. But it's time sometimes to be in joy for no reason other than to just be in joy. And we do have to open it up, Chris.
Okay. If anybody has any questions, we'll just please raise your hand, indicate I can unmute you.
We can't see everybody, so.
See if we, or add something to the chat if you have a question. We'll take it from there.
Any questions?
No questions?
Is joy different from love?
Is joy different from love? Joy is the expressed experience of love for self, expressed in our physical manifestation here in our earthly life. That's why Here's a fun thing, if any of you have children, when you're putting them to bed, tell them all the things you love about them. And what you will watch happen is they can't hold their arms and legs still, because you are just filling them with that love for them, everything that is so joyful about them. It's just a great experience of being able to see why joy is the expressed experience in the physical of love.
So the question extends, can we say love in action is joy? Love in action is joy, but it is not the only way to experience joy. Neelam?
How do we differentiate between feeling happy and feeling joyful?
That is what we've been talking about. Being happy, we're happy. You know, we could be a happy person. We could be happy to see someone. We're happy to, whatever it is. Happy is something that is an experience that comes much more easily, believe it or not, than joy. Joy is the epitome of happiness, but maybe it is that moment of love that is so overpowering that the joy just explodes. There is a combination of love and joy, and happiness and joy. Joy is simply so many more layers above happiness. But being happy is a wonderful thing. It's just within that happiness, do you also not experience moments of joy? It's like you feel like you're going to explode. Yeah, there are no words sometimes.
Right. Over the years, as I was making more and more choices to love all that I am, I began to coin the phrase joy beyond joy, because I had no way to describe what it felt like. It was just joy beyond joy, you know. I think the other piece here that's so important, because everyone on here is an adult and has already gone through years and years and years of, in a sense, I would say, not watering your plant or feeding that fire with air, because no one taught you that you're God. No one taught you that you're perfect just as you are. And no one has taught you that you have the power, the absolute power, and nobody outside of you has it. You cannot get this. Once you are over the age of 13, you cannot get this from anyone else. Up until the age of 13, if you are the parent of a child, you are equally making choices for them as God. You are their buoy. And that's why at 13, so much happens in our world to teenagers. But for all of us that are over 13, we have dampened this fire, and we have given away that power, and we have been told that we don't have it unless we serve others or do things in a certain way or walk across fire coals or whatever it may be. And the truth is, you have it. You have it. And it's so yearning for you to just go into the shower, go into a private place. You don't have to be public about loving yourself. It's you in the world, and you have this key, and you can take the time every single day as God, as the divine, powerful, omniscient, omni-loving being that you are, to love, to absolutely love and celebrate everything about yourself. This morning, I was loving my digestive tract, because yesterday I got interested in learning about the digestive tract. So this morning I was like, I love my digestive tract. I love, and love with the joyous energy you want to experience being loved. Because just think about it. If you go on a date, or you're with a family member, or you're with your marital partner, and you were to ask them how they love you, and they were to sit there and go, well, you've been a good husband. Come on, okay? You want to shake them, and you want to go, I love this about you. I love your eyes. I love how you care for our family. Do it. that love for yourself with the passion and awaken. That's the fire. That's the air that awakens that joy. And that's why it gets to be joy beyond joy, because when you feel yourself like that, and you take the time every day to love everything about yourself, it will grow and grow and grow. But this is your life. This is your soul's choice on earth, to experience yourself, to learn one thing. There's no separation between you and God. There is no separation. So when you choose to know that and embrace that, and then just live that by how you speak to yourself, how you speak to others, and how you take time each day to love all that you are, you will awaken that joy.
We have another question. Can we correlate joy to excitement? No. And it's a simple answer, but sometimes we get excited because something negative we've experienced, and we get all excited and we get all worked up. Excitement is, it falls into a separate category. Excitement doesn't necessarily, you get excited because you're about to do something fun, but you also get excited when somebody makes you angry. You know, the word excitement has so many different meanings that I would never put joy and excitement in the same. Joy is such an extraordinary emotion within oneself. You don't get excited about the joy. The joy simply is. It becomes all that you are in that moment. And it is not at all correlating to excitement. But it is a good question. Thank you. Hugo? Chris, you have to unmute him.
I have to find him. Hold on. It's not unmuting. You go here. Hugo, use the chat, because I can't, my unmute is not unmuting you.
Oh,
We hear you.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, thank you. It was a wonderful answer with regard to excitement. Thank you for that, and all the other answers as well. I have a small doubt. Does joy still fall under the realm of cause and effect? Is there any cause for the joy, or is there any effect that causes joy? Is it under the realm of cause and effect scenario?
Joy is our natural state of being in our physical lifetime. So it is not caused by or impacted by, our circumstances in any moment, something that somebody did for us or didn't do for us. It is the expressed experience of love for self in our physical being. And that's why the key is to take the time to love all that you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hugo, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
One of the areas that I find joy is when I'm making sales calls on my customers that I've known for many years. Those calls just seem to bring me a lot of joy.
Well, that's wonderful. But that's the point. If you did not have joy doing your job would not feed your soul.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So yes, there was another question about feeling joy when we are tired. I know that when I'm tired and I crawl into my bed and I have just washed my sheets and my bed smells sweet and I get in there, I feel joy. I don't think our physical body limits the experience of joy in any way. It doesn't stay with me all night, but it is that moment of, and you just feel it inside of you, and you just feel like you're moving into your cocoon of peace. And for me personally, that is a moment of joy. Everybody has a different experience of joy. And what I would like to do now is start the meditation and bring you back to moments of joy. So Chris, if you would mute everyone again, please.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna turn on some music. All right, everyone, please have a sip of water, take a deep breath. Let's let ourselves begin to relax. Make yourselves comfortable. It's gonna be fun. We will find joy today. Inhale deeply. Hold it as long as you can. And when you're ready, let it go. And do it again. We do this 3 times. Inhale deeply. Hold it as long as you can. And let it go. And once more, inhale deeply. Inhale the peace that you are, the love that you are. And release all limitation as you exhale. And imagine that you are in the most beautiful place upon the earth that you can see yourself being. For each of us, it will be different. My place is by a waterfall. Someone else might be near an ocean. Someone else in a garden filled with flowers, or on a mountaintop. Wherever it is for you, be in that space. And look around and feel the peace. Feel at one with your environment. Feel the beauty of the earth and beyond. And allow yourself to become connected to all that is. And as you look around, you notice a path. And I invite each of you to follow that path. Wherever it takes you, follow the path. And you are safe here. You can hear the birds. You can feel the breeze. You can smell the freshness of the air as you walk along. And you come upon a clearing. And in the middle of the clearing, you see a house. For each of us, the house will be different. Perhaps your house is a mansion. Perhaps your house is small and simple. Perhaps it is made of brick or wood. Perhaps it has color. Perhaps it blends into the environment. It is your perfect house. And make your way to the front door. It doesn't matter how large or small this house is. For within this house, you will find your joy. And on the count of 3, I invite you to touch the handle of the front door, and the door will open. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and the door opens. And you step into this beautiful house of your heart. And where you find yourself is in a large, large entryway with doorways all in a circle, in a semicircle around you. These doorways have different moments of your life. And what I ask each of you to do in this moment is call forth a moment of your personal joy to be behind each door, so that you can step back into a memory where the experience was so extraordinarily overwhelming in its joy. Choose a door and step up to it. You do not know if you will go back into a childhood moment or something as recent as yesterday. But as you step across the threshold, you will find yourself in a different moment of time, a time of joy, a moment that has brought your heart to that feeling of bubbling outside of your body. Anticipate it, expect it, create it with your own power. And on the count of 3, touch the door and it will open. And when it opens, step into the room and be in that moment of joy. 1, 2, 3. The door opens. Step in and remember. What is it that brought you such joy? Who was it that you shared that moment with? How did you feel? How did you express that joy? Perhaps simply through laughter. Perhaps just with your eyes sucking it in. Certainly with your heart. It could have been the birth of a child. It could have been the beauty of the world around you just taking over. It could have been an exchange or something you witnessed with another. I invite you to exit this room and choose a different door and bring into your experience another moment that brings you great, great joy. Open the door at your will and visit as many doors as you choose. I will give you a few moments of peace to have your own experience. I want to remind you that these memories are always with you. You can revisit this beautiful place and all these places whenever you choose. As you remember your joy, I ask you to bring it back with you. It is time to leave this beautiful house that you have created that represents all that you are in your joy, and step outside into the clearing. Look back upon this house, for this house holds all that you are in every moment of your experience, every joy, every moment of love, and in truth, even every moment of pain, for they offer us much to learn. Feel free to visit, to explore, to expand in this beautiful space that you have created. And now we walk back along the path to where we began. And notice the breeze and the smell of the air, and perhaps sounds of birds and animals, the colors around you. And find yourself on that beautiful place that feeds your soul, a wondrous place to always begin any meditation you create for yourself. Feel the peace. Feel the love. And remember the joy. And in this moment, choose that you will have many, many moments of joy in your daily experience of your physical being on earth. And whenever you're ready, take a deep breath and return to this moment that we are sharing together. And I invite you back. Those of you who are enjoying an evening, I wish you a glorious night. And those of us starting our day, have a great day. Always seek joy, always. It will come to you as you know to look for it, and allow your heart to feel it, fill with it, and experience it. And it's always a surprise. You never know where it will come from, but let it be. Thank you. Chris and I are honored to have you join us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.